Hello and welcome to another episode from the Real Talk and Revenue podcast. We have myself, Francesca, the accountant, and we have Jordan, the therapist, and we bring real powerful conversations around building revenue, building confidence, how the mindset works, all different discussions around to help others in business and in their personal life. So listen in, let us know what you think, ask questions along the way, and we'll be sure to answer them. Enjoy. Yeah, so I was just saying I bumped into someone at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
And he's basically, his vice is alcohol. And that's what we was talking about.
Yeah.
I did a post.
At 8 o'clock in the morning.
At 8 o'clock in the morning, we're talking about beers. I did a post and he saw it on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. And he actually made me really nervous. One of them posts that you want to delete after you've posted it.
Yeah.
The reason why, I don't know why it scared me. The reason why I think it scared me is because I wanted to write it without being a martyr.
Yeah.
So I feel like I did because I wasn't doing that. It was for me and sharing what I've done.
Yeah.
But you'll always get them people like, oh God, one drink won't hurt.
Yeah.
And I do think actually, yeah, it does. But I also respect people that can have drinks and live a really fulfilled life and feel good on a Monday, Tuesday when I used to not feel so good or played on my mind that I drank.
Yeah.
So I did that. Bearing in mind I haven't drank loads for years and years. This isn't like a year thing. This is a long time thing.
Yeah.
So Matt, who does these retreats and has a high performance coach to help him with this, he was saying that his nutritionist there gets mad with him because he can't sustain, he can barely eat 1,200 calories a day. And I'm like, because I can eat easily.
What, he struggles?
He struggles to, because his vice isn't food. It's
the
opposite to me, whereas my vice is food.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really nice to bump into him. And the fact that he's with one of our clients, and I've known him a long time, I'm just like, this is so good, like building a bit of like referrals and...
Yeah.
And someone actually inboxed me after I did that. Well, a few people inboxed me after I did that post, which was great, telling me their stories. But this guy in particular was like, will you help me come off alcohol sort of thing? And I was like, well, I'm not. I don't do that as a job sort of thing, but I know somebody that does.
Yeah.
So I did an intro there. But yeah, I'm interested about alcohol, isn't it? I don't know why it made me nervous writing it. I thought, oh, someone's going to...
It's funny, isn't it? Because like, you're worried about being judged for like not drinking and talking about that. But there's a lot more shame around problematic drinking, and I think sometimes that's where the backlash comes from. People get defensive because like we said it before, like we talk about alcohol a lot, don't we? And it's because it's such like a cultural norm, I suppose. And although like there's a shift and a lot of people are choosing not to drink for so many different reasons, it's almost like you feel weird for not drinking, and we've said this before, but I feel like I say, the backlash comes from people feeling like they need to defend drinking, like, well, it's okay to have one drink, or it's okay to socially drink. And it's that thing we've said before where when you're out and someone's like, go on, just have a drink, and you're like, no, I'm fine, like, you want to drink, crack on, like I'm not judging anyone for having a drink, like you do you, but also like just let me not. Like, but people don't like it. It's
no,
like,
and I would have been in that in my 20s. If someone you was going out with said, I'll just drive us, I'd be like, oh.
Yeah, like, no, come on. And I think it comes from like, everyone wants to be on the same level, because like, it's that classic like, oh, did I do something weird? Did I say something weird when I was drunk? And were there other people that will remember that because they weren't drinking, or like, are people gonna think I'm an idiot? And again, like, I feel like a lot of us have been like problematic drinkers. I would say I was a problematic drinker in my late teens and early 20s, because I was just like a bad drunk, like as in I'd have a couple of drinks, I'd try and keep up with everyone else and like couldn't, and then I'd just be like too drunk, like sloppy drunk, like I might be crying or like just being daft, and do you know
cringy,
and you wake up and you think, why have I done that? Like, that's not who I am. That doesn't align with how I operate when I'm sober. And yeah, it's just like you just feel
it's the
embarrassed.
devil's drink. It really is.
Yeah.
So someone also commented, "Oh, I just live a little, and you've got to live life to your max." And I was like, I am actually living my life more than to the max, actually.
100%.
And the reason why I'm doing the stuff that scares the hell out of me, and I don't live comfortably. I'm not going to lie. And I said that to Steve this morning. I just got loads on, but I look at others doing these things and wish to do those things. In my 20s I did, and thinking I'd never be able to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm doing what they did. And I know the people that are doing challenges and stuff feel the same.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'd rather not do them on alcohol at the weekend or feeling rough for them.
And that's things. Fine, isn't it? And that's personal preference. And and it's absolute, like, it's fine. And if people do want to drink, like I was saying about problematic drinking, like, there are people who can just go for a few, like, drinks on a Saturday night or Friday night, enjoy it, come home, get up, do what they need to do. Like it's whatever works for you. And do you know what? If people like partying on a Saturday night and sleeping in all Sunday and they're happy with that and it's fine, like, that's fine. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and it makes me wonder though, can people feel good on 1 or 2, 3, 4?
I think people can.
And but do they, I don't know, maybe I'm thinking, I just think it would hold me back. It fogs your brain.
Yeah, I think, there's a cognitive cost to drinking.
But if you're so used to it and don't know any different, if you don't know any different, I think.
And I think that's the thing, like, when people stop drinking and they get that, like, clarity, you hear people talk about that all the time, like, just feeling their best, like having energy, having the clarity, then they're like, actually, I think it did just, like, dampen down my ability to do things, because it does, like, alcohol does impede, like, your cognitive functioning, your energy levels, your response times. It is a depressant as well, so there's no doubt about the fact that it does have a negative impact on your health long term and on your, like, functioning. But like you say, people might not have insight into that. But they might be functioning at a level that feels fine for them, feels okay for them. People do, like, go for a beer, and, like, people genuinely go to the pub and might have one drink with their dinner, and then, they're up, like, running in the morning or doing whatever they need to do and enjoying it. And it's like, whatever you want to do, whatever you need to do. But if you want to do more and, like, alcohol's getting in the way of it, or say, you're intensely training for something in particular, you might think that's not gonna serve me getting to my optimal state to be able to perform in this event, or whether it be, like, a physical event, or whether it be you've got, like, a big, I don't know, like, work thing, or do you know what I mean? It's a funny one, isn't it? Because people do get very protective and defensive over their right to have a drink. And it's like, that's fine, like, if that's what you want to do. But you can't deny the science, I suppose.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
It's so true. You know what? I noticed, I'm going to show off here a little bit. LinkedIn. I don't know if anyone's listening that are on LinkedIn. Same with filtering. Same with posts on LinkedIn. I've noticed a massive shift in LinkedIn since I've, like, done a personal. More people are doing more personal. I just don't get it. I've said it before.
Yeah,
don't get it.
Get it.
I think, so I can post on LinkedIn the same stuff I post on Facebook and Instagram. I try and do that as well, and I try and be uniform across all social media.
Yeah.
What I didn't understand when I first went on it was the people that was trying so hard to come across a certain way, be, like, certain cool, certain, waiting to write the perfect post for it to go viral. And I've never, ever, I've never come away from me as such. And it is difficult because I'm still doing that, and I do see other people progressing in different ways with their following, but I know it's crap, a load of crap. No, they're not making the money.
I just think you hate the word authenticity.
Stop it now.
It's the only thing
I can't stand it.
It's the only thing that's gonna, like, it's the only thing that has longevity. Do you know what I mean? Just consistently showing up as yourself.
I've never said it online once, that word. I can't bring
People
myself.
Don't like it, do they? But there's
loads like it. I hear it all the time.
But there's not another appropriate word.
I just say real and genuine.
Yeah, real and genuine. Yeah, being yourself. Yeah.
It's hard, isn't it? And it's funny because I'm doing a lot of, let's say, fun style ways of like sharing information.
Yeah.
And I love it because I love getting people to like go, oh, what's she doing now? In a way, but also getting the information.
Yeah.
So we are trying different ways. And I do think with your social media, anyone listening in, you can't keep doing the same thing. Even if you get good results in the first 6 months of doing it, it will stop, it dies out, and you have to just spice it up again a little bit.
Yeah.
And be brave with that. I've had my moments of like, with my fun style posts and giving out information, of not coming across not professional, like almost panicking that people aren't going to take me seriously, this, that, the other.
Yeah.
When as a team, our work is so high standards.
Yeah.
And I've come from a firm that, obviously has those high standards, and everyone deals. Yeah. You can get some accountants that just do. Oh God, I'm embarrassed. We interviewed somebody, and she was saying how where she works, the way they did the accounts, my jaw dropped, and I was like, oh God, that's not ideal. However, how do I come across with that in my posts without sounding too salesy? It's so difficult, but my posts are working.
Yeah, and I think it's because as well, like, you believe in what you're saying. Like, you're not upselling. Like, you believe in, like, helping people simplify their accounting and get the most out of it. You're not just a gimmicky, oh, we need more clients, let's try and, upsell this and promise that. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You are always trying to offer the best.
Yeah.
In order to help your clients achieve their goals. And I think that comes through. And if people don't get that, if they don't see it and they want that, traditional, like, again, fine. Like, if that's your preference, if that makes you feel comfortable and secure, like, crack on.
Exactly. It's so interesting. And I've been talking to a few people that work in the corporate business world. Oh my God, the management styles. It's frightening.
It's just horrible.
It frightens me. I'm like shocked.
Yeah.
If you are a manager that acts completely different in your personal life, I don't get this bit.
Yeah.
And then puts on this bravado at work, I question it.
Yeah.
And it's such a shame because I was from a corporate business that I believe that you have to be a certain way to come across as professional and whatever that bloody means.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm shocked. I'm literally shocked. Like, I wasn't born knowing how to manage.
No.
In fact, I will make mistakes. I have made mistakes. But what I've learned is, in order to get better, you've got to be more empathetic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Managing people is hard. It's like harder than the work we do often. Because more often than not, that's not what you've trained in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, people management isn't what you've trained in a lot of the time, and you're learning. And even if you have trained in it, like, people will always shock, surprise, frustrate you. Like, it's that interpersonal relationship and the qualities that you develop in order to relate to others. I think that's the important part. Like, you can't just slap a one-size-fits-all on people. It doesn't work. Oh,
it doesn't work. And I started building a team from 2019 onwards. Oh, the lessons is ridiculous. I've learned so much about myself. And in order to be a good manager, you've got to be able to say, oh yeah, I'm not very good in that area.
Yeah.
I need to improve in this area. You need to know your weaknesses and say them out loud. You need to be empathetic. You need to show vulnerability. But there is a difference between leaders and managers. And I've been doing a lot of research over the years. Yeah,
definitely.
And it's okay to be a manager, but not necessarily a leader.
Yeah.
I do believe every business needs a leader in their business.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're a growing business, sorry, not a one-man band, obviously.
Yeah.
You don't want to grow a team.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
When I worked as a manager of sorts...
Come on, tell us the truth. Was you good?
No, I don't think I was.
Tell me some.
Because I think I've got leadership qualities, but I'm not a manager.
So what's that mean? What do you mean by that then? That's really interesting, because I could probably not relate, or...
I struggle with implementing processes and procedures that I don't believe in and I don't value myself.
Okay.
Like, and when I say that, you know, things that genuinely don't make sense, they don't seem to be benefiting the service, and they're certainly not benefiting the staff that are working in the service. So, for example, when I'm told, like, oh, the waiting list is huge, so you need to make sure that you allocate everybody else 3 extra clients each this week, it's like, that doesn't work. I can't do that. Like, people are already stressed, and you want me to sell the idea of just seeing a few more people for this period of time when people are already on the edge of burnout. Like,
how do you know they were on the edge of burnout?
Because you know, don't you, like, people talk, people will be stressed, and, you know, the morale in a team can be low. And this particular place that I went into, it had been that way long before I arrived. The staffing was poor. We were 50% down on staff the whole time I was there. Yeah. Like, it was just...
Was that poor. Going off how you felt?
Well, I mean,
or you genuinely know?
I felt the same, but I know people would overtly say, it wasn't me just, like, making assumptions or anything. Like, people would say, like, you know, like, I can't take anymore, it's already too much, like, I've got this, and I'd be like, I know. And then the way the structure of our diaries was set up with, like, meaningless meetings, like, if we took some of those out, maybe people could have 1 or 2 more clients, like, but again, like, you'd have to be careful about the type of clients you put in people's diaries, like, you know, not too much trauma or risk or this or that. So that's a small example, but I don't know, I feel like I just and for me, I was like, management's not for me, not in that way anyway. Do you know what I mean?
It's interesting.
I don't know.
So managers, I've spoke to a lot of business owners and this, that, the other, that have been a manager briefly and gone, oh no, I can't do it because they've had one bad experience, or someone failed an exam and went, that's not for me, or they went to a wrong job and thought that area wasn't for them. Yeah. You know, most of the problem is the environment you're in that stops you from achieving that you need to achieve. And I also think if you've been a manager before and it kind of didn't go to plan, don't necessarily give up. As in, not obviously you might not ever manage again. Yeah. Or you might manage in a different way as part of your business, actually. Yeah. But it's really interesting because I actually quite like, I don't know, I'm not necessarily a manager. Yeah. Although I am, because obviously I have to lead Dan and June and we have managers meetings and things like this, but I think I do it from a leader level. Yeah. And but I do like being empathetic with the team, and I do like, I'm doing one-on-ones with the team. I like progressing them. Yeah. Helping them with their studies, you know, where you're going with your studies. Do you want to do your studies, sort of thing. Yeah. But it isn't, and it's the hardest job in the world. Yeah, yeah. And I think any corporate business needs to offer it as a training. Yeah. Or look into, because they do promote people as managers and they're not real, they haven't got the skill set.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you could be really good at the particular job that you've got expertise in, but then you put someone up to them managing people and doing less of that role. And a lot of people, they don't like that. They'll move into management and they think, don't like it because I enjoyed the work I was doing. Now there's a lot less of that. Yeah. And I'm like, you know, managing people, like doing appraisals and, you know, like this and that. And it's like, that's not what I came into this job to do.
A lot of people, it's interesting what you said there, don't like helping others be better than them. You've got to be a manager, you've got to help others be better.
Yeah, poor leaders and managers, you always see that the feeling threatened. Yeah. And it's like, what are you doing? I saw so much of that in the NHS, and you'd be like,
oh God. It's like, you know, if you're listening to this and you're in a business and you are, okay, let's say you're a manager or you're an employee wanting to progress, but you're always constantly looking at what your other employees are doing and not feeling, there's going to be a degree of like, oh, I feel like they're better than me. Because I've done that. You feel like it, but then I've learned, I gave my head a shake. I'm like, I'm glad they are doing well.
And that's why I think as well, to be a good manager and leader, you have to have so much self-awareness.
100%.
And it, like, that should be part of the training, like, I don't know, coaching, like whatever, therapy, self-development, like I say, looking at your weaknesses, not just from like a work perspective, but from a personal perspective, like, what are your insecurities? Like, what are you scared about? Like, do you know what I mean? Because it filters into the work that you're doing and how you relate to other people.
Yeah.
And I think that's like one of the most important things, is just like being able to go, because don't you just hate it? I've had so many bad managers. And I had this one manager, and she was like constantly threatened by everyone. And it was so weird. Like, she was so like standoffish, because I was a trainee at the time, and like I'd ask her a question and you could tell she didn't know the answer.
But rather than say that, what did she do?
She'd be like,
make you feel thick.
Yeah, and be like, I haven't really heard of that. I don't think that's probably the proper thing that you should be doing, or that you should be, even though I was like training at the time, this is what I was learning.
Yeah.
And it became like abundantly clear that she didn't know a lot of things that were, you know, basic skills for being a cognitive behavioural therapist. It wasn't just a case of like, you learn one thing and then in practice it's a bit different. It wasn't that. It was honestly the most bizarre situation. And I know she still works in another area, but she was promoted a lot. And so she's at quite a senior level, and she's still got a reputation for being like a really, really poor leader and manager.
How
like,
did they get away with
not
it,
very nice, like no people skills. But yeah, like part of it, you could tell she was constantly on the defence to try and prove that she was good enough and better than everybody else, and this and that. And obviously, like, that's born out of a place of insecurity, but you've got to deal with your own shit. Like, you can't be going around putting that on other people. Like, do you know what I mean? But you need insight
100%.
in the first place. So
what about...
it should just be a prerequisite.
I don't know, but I used to think, this is going back a few years, what about the people when I can't just come in every day and put... what do they say? I can't go into work every day and just pretend I'm all right when I'm not. And I'm like, well... And I used to think, well, why not?
Yeah.
But then I get it from their perspective that you can't just be positive all day, every day. I'd get that.
Yeah.
But I also think to be in that position as a business owner, leader, manager, you've kind of got to leave your mardiness, is that a word?
Yeah.
Your humps and I got up on the wrong side of the bed at home.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that, there's an issue, and you're never going to be a great... that people look up to you and go, oh, they were amazing. And actually, if no one's actually said, thank you so much for doing this and that, and get some feedback. If you don't dare ask for feedback, then there's
absolutely
there's a problem. Honestly,
do you know what, as well? Like, I think, and there's a difference, isn't there, between like coming in and like oversharing and kind of like projecting all your different moods onto the day and how you operate. And you know, like we're all human and we go through things. So you know, you might be going through like a relationship breakdown at home, or a divorce, or you might be struggling with grief, or you know, you've with a diagnosis of some kind, and it's a struggle to try and show up and pretend that you're fine. I feel like it's how you carry yourself, and in those situations, like just being honest and being like, sorry if I'm a bit you know, low vibe today. I'm actually really struggling. And it's knowing when how you're feeling means that you can't really do your job in a way that you need to, recognising that and then stepping back and taking some time away and modelling that to a team. I think is really important. Do you know what I hated, and I still hate today?
I love it when you say things like this.
Toxic traits of managers that is poor modelling to a team. So like, you get this in the corporate world all the time. It's like working late all the time. And expecting that of your team. Firing emails out at all hours of the day. There's no need. Like, schedule it. Schedule it for within work hours. There's no need. Don't do that. Or like doing all those things, like working like all the time, not having a personal life, like and firing at emails at all hours of the day,
or the evening,
and then saying to your team like, you don't need to work late, don't worry about it.
Can't stand that.
Like, don't do that. Or I've seen this not before. Taking time, like don't be a leader and come into the office like really unwell and run down. Just like model healthy habits.
Like model the gym, going to the gym, say to people, you gone for a walk? I've done that before.
And like staying at home when you're ill and not really working. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I know somebody.
Just stop doing that.
So the flip side of that, have I sent an email? I've definitely sent an email on a Friday, but they know that because I was off in the day, we've got a work environment that some people work in the evenings because they've got
flexible working.
I, on the flip side, don't look at your emails if you know that you might get. So there's if you do happen to do this, because I know a corporate business, and I've told somebody off in it that they work 12 to 20 hours overtime, and they're all competing. It felt like.
Is it unpaid as well? Or?
Yes. Yeah. But their salary's really good. I'm like, break it down.
No, this is what I used to do with a load of my clients all the time that work in the corporate world. Got a really good salary, working like, 80, 100 hours a week. I'm like, good salary. I'm like, okay, what's your hourly rate then? And it's like below minimum wage. You're like,
yeah, exactly. It's that modelling from it's the business fault in theory, and everyone feels that they're not good enough if they don't do the extra time, because all the managers do that, for example. What was we saying about toxic traits? You said emails firing about. I hated it when somebody used to work on their holiday or somehow check in when they didn't need to. God. Right, be rude when I said, look, you're on holiday. And also it was like, this is someone higher up. This is a while ago, and then when someone else did it, you shouldn't be working. And I'm thinking, how's it?
You've literally just done exactly the same thing.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I always say to the team, you work what suits you. Then as long as stuff gets done.
Yeah.
And I've actually said to the team now, because we've got hybrid working, I don't actually want to know if you're not coming in the office. Yeah. Tell the right person that's in so that it's kind. But actually, why are you telling me, like, do you mind if I work from home?
Yeah, just do it.
Stop.
Like, you've got the autonomy to make.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that shit anymore. Like, that's the old culture.
You're right. Yeah, you should like manage your own diary.
Yeah.
I'll trust that wherever you're working from, you're doing your job.
Yeah, but I'll find out, and we have a chat about, is there any way I can help you to do something better if that did happen?
Yeah.
Because exciting news, we might be hiring 2 people. We definitely got one lady starting with us. She's worked for a firm that's very similar to ours, but a bigger version, which is great.
Yeah.
And they're friends of mine as well.
Oh, nice.
But she's come over to us because we're more local to her.
Right.
So this is great news. She's nearly qualified. I think she's got one exam left, bless her heart. She's done all the apps, tech, software, forward thinking. She's got energy, personality, and potentially we're going to hire someone at more of a trainee level.
Okay, that's cool.
With a really great background story about her, like really good energy. It's really exciting. And it's all about culture. All about the culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to hear from more people though on our stuff.
And please let us know, like, if you've had like good or bad experiences of like management, leadership.
Yeah.
Like, give us your exames. We can keep it anonymous.
I know.
But
we should do this as a reel. Like, what can we say? Please, if you're, let's see if we can. Darren might cut this bit into a reel. But how can we say it? If you're, basically, I want to just say on here and message on the comments below, if you're in like a management style position, or you've been like obviously an employee going into management, let us know if you've like heard any like bad stories of a bad manager, bad leader.
Yeah.
Comment below because we want to hear it, don't we?
Or if you've experienced it yourself, like give us your stories of like good and bad management and leadership with examples, please.
Yeah, definitely.
And we can read some out.
Yeah.
And discuss.
It opened my eyes up when I went on a management leadership course with a team a couple of years ago. It was I absolutely loved it because I was like, this is similar to how I think and feel.
Yeah.
But I can always improve.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great. And I think, more people need to do stuff like that. But it's a lot to do them because you get nervous and they get you doing role play and bits like that. And you think, role play. I hate role play.
Yeah. I think the funny thing is like, doubting yourself and your abilities and not taking opportunities is a very different response to insecurity and not having confidence in yourself to being insecure and not having confidence in yourself and therefore like being defensive, pretending you know it all. Like it's essentially coming from a very similar place.
So true.
Do you know what I mean? But it's manifesting in a different way.
Yeah.
And it's how you manage that, isn't it? Because like I say, you might be nervous and anxious and feel like, oh, is everyone just going to think I'm an idiot or I shouldn't be here? But you're giving it a good go and like you're interacting with people in a nice way and just like being honest, like, oh God, I don't know if I can do this, I'm a bit nervous, or rather than like, oh, I'm fine, I can do it. I know it. I already know it. Would you want to have a go? No, I'd rather not. But like, I don't really need to because I've already done that. And it's
I find that comes across really rude, but I've heard all that.
Yeah,
before.
There's always people, and again, like I say, it can be coming from like a similar place of insecurity. Yeah. But the behaviour, the mechanism of coping, is dysfunctional.
Talking about insecurity, and I was thinking that I'm jumping the subject now a little bit, moving into Steve, my husband.
Steve, coming back in.
He is the most secure man I've ever met. I'll tell you what, like, I love it. I absolutely love it. That way about him. He's not bothered about, I don't know, even with me on social media, I can do replies to guys, women. Yeah. Be all, like, not flirty, but a bit more friendly.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have an issue.
Doesn't impact, like, doesn't make him jealous, or he's not like, why are you doing that? Yeah. Like you say, that comes from a place of security. Like being decisions. Like it's that classic, isn't it? Like, Fran's my wife. Yeah. She wants to be with me. So everything's fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Doesn't even. Yeah. And if that relationship you're in stops you from being you online, because they're going to be like, why are you putting that selfie on? Yeah. Why are you messaging that? And I've definitely had that in the past. This is why I'm saying it out loud now. Yeah. I'm talking about insecurities and stuff. If someone, it's always about them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how to fix it. Because I've heard it before when it's like, oh, I don't dare post. But actually, do you dare post? But you do so worried about others. Yeah, in your surroundings.
You say, especially if it's like your partner, that's like, why are you putting that on? That's ridiculous. Like, just be like, because you need to have the confidence to be like, because I like it. This is me showing up in a way I feel comfortable with. If you don't like it, that's your problem. Yeah. And I think, again, that's like having the confidence in yourself to be yourself. And if other people don't like it, let them go.
Let them go,
Let them go. Yeah. Because you'll find people that will hype you up for what you're doing, that will be like, that's so good, really love what you're doing, or it's funny, it made me cringe, but like, you do you, like.
Yeah, Steve. Oh my God. Oh, here I go again, look. So Bella said to me, who's in our marketing team, Bella said, Mum, I've got a TikTok that's gone viral. I was like, right, okay, what is it? I don't really get TikTok, like you probably don't get LinkedIn. And she showed me it. She said, you can do it on your own. I was like, well, the videos you show me have got 3 people in it. Yeah. So then I was like, right, there's June and Dan, our senior managers in. I said, let's see if they'll do it. Yeah. But I didn't see if they'll do it. I went, oh, I've got a funny TikTok. Let's have a go. Yeah. And they were like, no, I went up to June and I was like, I know June's going to listen to this. I was like, June, are you in a good mood? What do you want? I was like, right, I know you're going to go crazy in your head, but there's a funny TikTok that's apparently a trend. Shall we give it a go as like senior managers that we're going to do a bit of a jig? Yeah. She's like, oh my goodness. You know what I absolutely loved yesterday? I timed us filming it. I know it sounds stupid, but I just wanted to prove that you don't have to spend hours doing content.
Like doing it again and this and that.
So Bella got us set up. Dan was cringing hard. I could see he really didn't want to do it. But I said, come on. And then he was like, no, actually, I'm not bothered. Let's do it. And he's got no rhythm. It was so funny. That's why it was funny.
Yeah.
So there's the 3 senior managers in this room. And then we were doing a jig forward. June looked like she was having a whale of a time. So we did that. Then we did a bit on the stairs. Then we did a bit outside. Right. Is it something to do with Super Bowl?
I don't know. I've not seen it.
Steve knew what I was talking about. Because he's on TikTok a lot. Honestly, the video, we weren't in rhythm, no timing, but it was
just funny.
It was funny. It took us 9 minutes to film it. Bella edited it in 5 minutes because it's not massive.
Is it on yet?
It's on TikTok.
Is it?
It is terrible. It's so funny. But what I'm getting at, it's so freeing when they're allowing me to just go, let's have a laugh at the accountancy office rather than, no, we're going to lose clients.
And if someone was like, Fran, please, I really don't feel comfortable, you'd be like, 100%. No problem. But again, it's like something funny. It's a bit of like a bonding, like team building activity, is it, where you can just have a laugh, like be silly. Dan was laughing and it did give us some good energy. I'd like to think that they would be like, no, I really don't want to do this. But I also think if you're building a company that's got that culture of letting loose a bit, whoever works with me will see our content and will get our vibe. We aren't your KPMG and all the top 4 serious, but actually I don't want to be that, because the future of accounting is going to look very different. You heard it here. It's not going to be stuffy corporate. Do you know what's funny as well, right? That big corporations, obviously they offer like private healthcare packages a lot of the time.
We do.
Funny enough. But it's funny because you will see people more from certain corporations than others. So like the insurance work that I do, I've had multiple clients from certain companies. And again, it tells you a lot about the culture of that company, because there's always a workplace issue or do you know what I mean? Like work-based stress. And it's kind of like you're offering these packages and stuff. Like, here you go, you're supported. Well, no, even with like the healthcare and stuff like that, like, there's lots of benefits and stuff like that, and you're offering them to try and keep people in work, but actually the main thing you need to address is the culture 100%. And your management team and like sort that out, and then you won't need to be, you won't be paying as much out on like other things to try and fix the problem, like preventative measures first, please.
I know, because it's like, look at your staff turnover. And I can say this from a place of losing people in the past, not being perfect. When you're, I don't know, I've just learned a lot, and now I can do things my way. I hope that I feel that it's going to be very different.
And people will always leave, for their own reasons and different opportunities. And like you've said before, like you'll support and encourage that because you're going to have people, you want people in the team that, want to be there, want to progress and be a part of it. And, that might be for a certain season of the business, a couple of years, it might be 10 years. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's like, you're always going to have a turnover of sorts, but if people are leaving left, right and centre, there's something wrong, isn't there?
Oh, there's something wrong. And when you're fighting, you sometimes fight a losing battle. There's got to be a big shift in change. And that's another thing we can talk about, actually, maybe next week, is about where do you start with making that change? Because I always say to Steve as well, be the change you want to see then. If he's saying, I don't, this, what did he say? This event he goes to and he's part of the panel and whatnot. And he's like, and about how they do things. I'm like, well, be the change you want to see, or say what you think out loud, which he probably does. But it's interesting because people like a moan, don't they? But don't do anything about it.
Definitely.
Or know their weaknesses. Know they could improve in areas. Know they could get fitter. Only if they want to, but don't do anything about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that happens in career, relationships, like literally all
aspects
areas of life.
Life's hard though, isn't it?
It can be a challenge. And some of it is completely out of our control.
I know.
But it's how you respond to it.
Yeah.
Isn't it? And, you know, I'm not always saying, like, you have to meet things with positivity, but, like, seeking support from other people, like, being honest about how you're feeling and what you're struggling with. And, you know, sometimes you might not take action for a while, but, like, have an idea of, like, what you could do and think about a timescale for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. What have you found hard this week then? Anything to share?
I had a meeting on Monday that I was really nervous about.
Oh,
Did I tell you about that last week? I think you might have done. Yeah. I think I did mention it, didn't I?
With a client?
No, it was with like an referral agency that I take referrals from.
Yeah.
They're like a gatekeeper for certain insurance companies.
Yeah.
Insurance companies will send them mass referrals and they'll divvy them out to therapists on their network, and obviously take a cut of the fee. And so again, there's just a lot more like process and procedure that happens, like clinical governance and stuff like that. So I wanted to go over a certain amount of sessions with a client that's presenting with like complexity and comorbidity. So she's got multiple things going on and, you know, childhood trauma and all this kind of thing. And sometimes these processes are in place because they want to make sure things are working, like you're doing a decent job, etc. And other times, like, there's this sense of, like, if you know you have to jump through these hoops and have certain meetings and justify yourself, you might just rather not do that.
Yeah.
And
I know what you
I'm
mean.
more likely to be like, oh, we can't go over this amount of sessions to your client, like, sorry, like.
Yeah.
But I'm not like that. Like, for me, it's always like, no, like, this client needs it. I know they need it. I've got a really good clinical rationale. Like, I'm not going to let her down.
Yeah,
so
hold your own.
Yeah, so I went into the meeting, like, a little bit anxious, feeling like I was going to be, like, scrutinised and criticised in a way.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
But then I had to keep saying to myself, like, and again, this is like old stuff for me coming up, like imposter syndrome and all of that, thinking like they're just going to think I'm a shit therapist. Like, but then I had to come back and be like, I'm not. Like, I know this is the right thing.
Yeah.
Like, I've got a good clinical rationale. And I went in there and he was like, yeah, you have. You've got a really good clinical rationale. Like, we'll submit it and put it to them. He was like, yeah, like, good work. And I was like, yeah,
but that could have nearly ruined you, you know, before. You could have even cancelled it, thinking, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, but ultimately, like...
You embraced it, though.
And also, I'm advocating for my client. Like, I think that's the most important thing for me. Do you know what I mean?
It's almost the same. Yeah, you've got to stick up for your clients as well, and stand up for what you think's right and where you think you're putting things. I love a person that can just direct somebody and go, this is what I think. I know you shouldn't give away. You shouldn't put what you think on somebody else as such, but sometimes you've got to a little bit.
Yeah.
So you felt good after that? Or was it anticlimax? It
was a bit of an anticlimax.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. If I could get through that meeting, it'd be amazing.
I knew that. Do you know what I mean? I knew that going into it. I knew. And once I'd booked it, and I wrote a report beforehand as well, just to like be prepared and be like, and I then presented that, and he was like, yeah, you've got everything there. Like, do you know what I mean? Because I knew my rationale. Like, I wasn't doing it for no reason or because I'd like not doing a proper job or anything like that. So I went in like prepared, and after I'd written the report up, I thought, well, that's that. It's all there. Like, it's all there. So when I go into this meeting, like, it's there. Like, what do you want me to say? And you know.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. So I was a bit nervous about that, but I knew I'd be nervous, and I knew it would be fine regardless of the outcome, and I'd come out knowing I'd done the right thing, and again I'd stuck to my values. I'd like presented the case, and even if they'd have said like no, at least I could go back to my client and say, I'm really sorry, like I've tried my best and it's out of my hands, sort of 100%. Thing.
So you got that ticked off.
Yeah, and that's about
but it. But even if it comes back and it's not what you want to hear, that's the same with anything. It's that fear of rejection. I'm going through a bit of that now with certain things.
Yeah.
Couple of interviews I'm having, auditions, but all related to work. So it's all like relevant, but it's making my stomach flip. Speaking events that can help progress Future Cloud, and the hiring a team that will all be part of that makes me feel absolutely sick to the core. But I'm going to do them anyway and see what happens. It's not a rejection, is it? It's like a redirection.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And it's the same with like perceived failure.
Yes.
You've just got to accept that, like, we're going to fail in life. It's part of life. Like, embrace it.
And
it'll redirect you. You'll learn. You'll move forward. Like, don't take it personally.
No, exactly. No, so I think next week, let's talk about dealing with change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, thank you all for listening, watching, comment, like, share. A lot of people don't do that, do they?
I know.
But anyway, see you later.